and welcome to day 16 of Jimbo and Fisher's Advent Calendar. Today's Christmas item is Elf on the Shelf, or just elves in general. Elf on the Shelf has been a popular tradition now, maybe for the last sort of 10 years or so, and it's where an elf visits children's houses on the run to Christmas to check that the children are being good. Sometimes the elves set the children challenges, or they leave them a treat for good behaviour. So it's basically passing on the responsibility of parenting onto a small doll for a month. And sometimes the elf on the shelf dresses the children's dads up in a stupid elf costume. It was definitely the elf, not me. Of course, elves are not to be confused with dwarves. They've got very little in common. They're both very little. This year we all know that around the whole world, because of the coronavirus, it's been different, and this is no exception for the North Pole. It's been up against it with the new coronavirus health and safety regulations, and of course, you know, whenever one of Santa's helpers has come down with a temperature, they've had to elf isolate. Now, I made that joke back in November, and I've been waiting till now to use it, so hope you enjoyed it. Everything's gone up in price. Santa's elves have been, trying to make things work on a tight budget. Even the upgraded bells on Santa's sleigh have got to be paid for, and the accounting department at the North Pole have obviously, they've got to try and find a way to pay the jingle bills. Money is so tight, so some people this year will receive damaged gifts as well, unfortunately, but, gifts that would usually be thrown out. But we are living in unprecedented times. Of course, earlier this year, Santa was struggling to get his supplies sorted, and Amazon were just about putting him out of business. So he wrote to the world's government to see if he could get some sort of furlough package for his elves, but it was rejected, as obviously all of his workers are elf-employed, and his elves were left feeling a little short. One good thing, of course, so it's much more acceptable these days for it's much more acceptable for elves to date regular people, and they have been a lot more out there and on the dating scene. Often in the past, they'd often be looked over by society, and, society was quite short-sighted when it comes to elves and dating and so on. But one problem with this is the fact that elf offspring are now being born taller and bigger, which is causing problems for Santa in his workshop. The general population of elves is getting taller, which means it's starting to get harder for them to use the small tools to make the toys. So it's a heightening crisis. China has been taking quite a fair bit of flack this year for everything that's happened, and a lot of it probably unfair, but they have faced some recent criticism that they are driving the elves out of work in the North Pole by allegedly hiring children to make the toys in China. It does say all the toys made in China. Anyway, that's all for now. It's just 9 sleeps till Christmas.